Hey guys, and welcome back to another League of Legends Champion Guide. Today's guide is going to be about Yorick, the Shepherd of Souls. So let's get to know a little bit about him. Okay, so if you're looking to play Yorick, first you're going to need to own him. So how much does he cost? Well, at the time of making this video, he is currently 4,800 IP and 880 RP. Yorick's primary role is a top lane champion. I've seen some jungle builds for Yorick, but I think he really shines when he's in the top lane. It makes it a lot easier to farm for Graves and get some minions going, and he's such a great pusher. He's very powerful, and he quite often gets underestimated by his opponents, so for this guide I'm going to be focusing more on the top lane role for Yorick. For Yorick's masteries, I go 12-0-18, picking up Grasp of the Undying for the additional sustain it gives you in lane. For Yorick's runes, I will go Attack Damage Marks, Armor Seals, Magic Resistance Glyphs, and Attack Damage Quints. For Yorick's summoner spells, I grab Flash and Teleport. I usually pick up the Flash for a good getaway or a gap closer for Yorick because he can be a bit slow at times. Then I grab Teleport because it helps him get back in lane faster in early game, and it can allow him to teleport into another lane to create a gank or help with a fight, or to get back to lane when you've been out roaming and somebody's pushing your lane.
Fear not, I will make use of your corpse.
For Yorick's abilities, I usually start Q, E, then W. I'll max Q first and then E second while putting a level into my R ability whenever it's possible, and then finish leveling up W last. Alright, spell breakdown. Yorick's passive is called Shepherd of Souls. Shepherd of Souls will allow Graves to spawn after enemies die under certain conditions. This passive ability also allows Yorick to have up to 4 Mistwalkers. Mistwalkers are spawned with Yorick's Q ability once at least 3 Graves have accumulated and can fit within this ring. The condition in which you can get Graves to spawn are either by killing an enemy champion, which will always spawn a Grave, killing an enemy with your Q ability, which will spawn a Grave, and finally a Grave will spawn after so many enemies have died within Yorick's general area. This is shown by this buff, which will count down to the next free Grave. Yorick's Q ability is called Last Rites. This ability resets Yorick's basic attack timer and adds bonus magic damage to the next attack while healing Yorick. The heal is even for twice as much if you are lower than half health, and if you kill a minion with this ability, not only are you going to get juicy gold, the minion is going to leave a grave behind for Yorick's Forces of the Undead to grow. After Yorick triggers his Q ability, for 6 seconds before it goes on cooldown, the ability can be triggered again if there are 3 Graves within the ring. This will raise the dead to fight beside him. Graves will become Mistwalkers and follow Yorick until he enters the lane. Then the Mistwalkers will commit to the lane as if they were minions. Yorick's W ability is called Dark Procession. When cast, it creates a circular wall around an area after a brief delay. The wall is destructible by enemy champions but has 2 to 4 life depending on the ability level and only takes 1 damage per hit. This wall is great for trapping a running away enemy champion or putting distance between you and someone chasing after you. It has many great uses, and I really love this wall. Yorick's E ability is called Morning Mist. Yorick hurls a ball of mist at a target location and deals 15% of the target's current health and magic damage to all enemies hit, with a minimum amount of damage it can do depending on the ability level. All enemies hit by Morning Mist are slowed by 30%, and this ability also marks champions and monsters. Yorick, Mistwalkers, and the Maiden of the Mist will gain 20% movement speed when moving towards a marked target, and Mistwalkers will leap at the marked target for their next attack once they get close enough. Yorick's R ability is called Eulogy of the Isles. It allows Yorick to summon the Maiden of the Mist. The Maiden of the Mist will move around on her own and cannot be commanded, however it does have pretty good AI. It will follow Yorick until he decides to enter a lane, when it will start to push the lane. It will raise up to 4 of its own Mistwalkers from dead enemies, and prioritize Yorick's target if Yorick is nearby. When Yorick and the Maiden of the Mist are attacking the same target, Yorick deals from 5% to 10% of the target's HP and damage every 2 seconds, and that includes structures like turrets. For a starting item with Yorick, I will pick up a Corrupting Potion. That's really all that Yorick needs to start with. It gives you even more lane sustain on top of your Q's heal and Grasp of the Undying, while also giving you some mana back, adds damage to your attacks and abilities while it's active, and on top of it all, it refills and gives you 3 more every time you go back to the base. The good thing with Yorick though is that you're going to have very high sustain in lane and you will not need to go back to the base very often in early game. Focus on getting your minion last hits and try getting as many as you can with your Q for all the graves. E makes for a good harass button and also can make for an even better harass button when you have some Mistwalkers around to leap on the champion when you mark them. With Yorick you're going to have a pretty strong push and can oftentimes push the minions of the enemy champion against their tower, shutting down their ability to farm properly and really helping you to get ahead. But be careful when you extend past the river because you'll be a target for ganks, so try to keep the river warded when you can. Also a good idea to keep Scuttlecrab in mind because he's very easy to solo as Yorick and that can give you some vision in the river. Here's an example of how I generally build Yorick. I try to stay in the lane and sustain long enough to grab my Sheen and try to grab armor or magic resistance depending on who I'm laning against. I'll then finish my tier 2 boots followed by my Trinity Force. Then I grab a ZZ Rot to help push lanes, and then I grab a couple of tanky items that also help with damage. And finish with a strong tank item that doesn't really help with damage, but I'll change that item depending on what the situation is like. As the game progresses and turrets start to fall, you'll need to keep an eye out on the other lanes. Look for opportunities to teleport down and help with a fight or with Dragon. Keep Rift Herald in mind as a good kill. You can't wait too long for Rift Herald though, he'll despawn at 20 minutes when Baron spawns. Once you have taken out your turret, try to help lanes push out their outer turret. If they still need help, that is. If not, keep pushing your lane. You have a strong push as Yorick, and you work best in a lane with a bunch of your minions backing up, so use that to your advantage. In the late game, Yorick can lead into a team fight or split push in a lane while the rest of the team keeps the enemy busy. You have your wall to stop people from trying to run or create a barrier to keep people away from your backline. The Maiden of the Mist will help you immensely in a fight, and most champions will leave them alone trying to aim directly for you. So use that to your advantage. With a good team backing you up, there's no reason to fear initiating a fight with Yorick, especially if you build tanky. Sometimes you can even push a lane while someone's trying to kill you. That's always a fun time. In the end, I think Yorick is an amazingly fun champion, and I highly enjoy going into games with him. And I think you'll enjoy it too if you get the hang of his abilities. Good luck out there and make people regret not banning the Shepherd of Souls. Until next time, pieces.